Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1. Well, hello you beautiful people. Today I'm coming to you from Holland America's Koningsdam while we are in port on a beautiful sunny day here in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Now I know you read the title, Do You Want to Live Full-Time on a Cruise Ship? It's being done by people on YouTube and others. And there's a lot to unpack there. And I really don't think it is everything that it's cracked up to be. It's kind of like dating supermodels. Sounds great on paper until you got to deal with the reality of the situation and the personality. And that is pretty much what it is with the living full-time on a cruise ship. Now, it is tempting to live maybe a month, 2 months, 6 months, maybe 9 months. If you were very bold, maybe even one entire year. But they're not set up as an old folks home. And the people that are doing it are generally older people, gray-haired people like me. Look at my face, look at the gray. It's people like me. Look at the people that are by the pool. So it's all gray-haired people. So generally, you know, it's not that expensive. Typically, if you climb the ladder with the cruise ship companies, you can often get cruises for around $1,000, give or take, a week. So do the math. 52,000 bucks plus expenses a year. A lot of people can afford that. But there's always the, you know, mandatory tips, there's incidentals, things like that. And people don't realize that, you know, it's one thing to be a nomad living in your motorhome and your RV like I've done for years, and making the transition to living on a cruise ship in 200 to 400 square feet, probably not a big issue in terms of the space. But you're never near your dentist, you're never near your family lawyer, your accountant, family, friends. You know, you're basically doing like I'm doing when I'm in my cabin in port, uploading videos, making phone calls. People are phoning me, I'm returning text messages. And when you're out in the ocean, you know, you got to pay for that internet. It's not free, and it's not cheap either. And the funny thing is that everything that seems great on paper, when you do it, not so great. I mean, really. Now, let's say, for example, you were living full-time on this exact ship, Holland America's Koningsdam. The ship's not very old, still very lovely, great crew, it's safe. But if you were to constantly get on and off and do 7 to 14 day runs on this ship, in the summer, you're going to Alaska. So every damn week, it's Ketchikan, Juneau, Skagway, Glacier Bay, and back to Vancouver or Seattle. Every week, week after week after week. And the occasional other stops in ports like Victoria or maybe Seattle. And that's it, over and over and over. It'll get to the point where you're not going to get off the ship, because to get off the ship to have lunch, you got to pay. So you're very tempted to stay on board the ship, eating the same damn food every week. Now I know that the food menu changes day after day, but if you're on week after week, you know that Fridays are fish day, you know? You know that Thursdays it's the beef tenderloin, you know, you get the idea. It's always the same menu, always. And it's always the same ports. So you would actually just be beaten into submission with boredom, you know, going, oh yeah, it's Thursday, today we're in Ketchikan, Alaska again. Big whoopee deal. And then for the shoulder season, you're doing the run out to Hawaii. So you got 5 days of open ocean of seeing nothing, and storms possibly on the way out to Oahu and Maui, and then 5 days of open ocean on the way back. Yay, boy, is that fun. I mean, the Hawaii part's fun, but the rest of nothing in between. And then of course in the summer you are off to the Caribbean, and every week same thing over and over. And then what are you going to do if you have a medical problem. Now, of course, you're going to say, whoa, they have a doctor on board. Yes, they do. Everything is profit orientated on this ship. You're going to still have to pay for services or carry insurance. And if you have pre-existing conditions, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So you can't get around it. There's nothing for free. This cruise ship is paid for by the people on board. It's not a charity. And they're not here to help you out. And if you have mobility issues, I mean, there are some wonderful people on here that are driving scooters that I've seen that are elderly. They're not the type of people that should be on board too long. Because if anything happened, they're in trouble. Absolute trouble. So I don't think it is something that you really want to jump into and live full time on a cruise ship for very long. It's going to bite you in the ass. And what are you going to do if you have a dental issue and you suddenly need a root canal and you're a long ways from your dentist? There are no dentists on board. Same with other professional services. Oh, sounds like a helijet is making some noise. Yeah, you're gonna have to learn to Skype your lawyer and your accountant to do your taxes and things like that. Family and friends, you're not gonna see them very much. Maybe they'll join you for the odd cruise here and there, but you know, the thrill of all these things wears off. It's like dating supermodels, like I said. You date supermodels, you can't even go back to regular ladies because you're used to dating supermodels. You know, there's always the dark side of the nice side. It's also like I fly business class or first class a lot. You can't go back to economy, dude. And if you get so used to people pandering for you here, and you know, you're gonna get lazy, you wouldn't even know how to make your own bed. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I really don't think it's all it's cracked up to be. And as more and more people are attempting to do that, living on board full time, I think the cruise lines are going to get wise to it, and they're going to put a stop to it. They're going to say, hey, X number of weeks per year, that's it. We don't want to have a whole shipload of geriatrics with ambulatory issues wandering about on our boats that are an actual liability. Because you know that most of us old geezers, if there's a problem and they don't treat us just right, we're going to sue. We will sue, and we will hold them account in the courts of law that are available, and they're not going to like that. So to limit their liability, you know, they're going to start sharing information between the cruise lines, and some cruise lines, well, many cruise lines, if you know what I'm saying, and they're just going to say, no, we're not going to allow you to do that, because things will happen and they don't want to be liable for it. And part of that liability is them knowing that, hey, you're cruising week after week, month after month. Do you have a home? I guess it's the same thing with RVing, but you know, I live in an RV, but I can use my RV to drive to a dentist. If you're on board a long ways from home, you're not doing that. And if you slip and fall here, your liability. If you have ambulatory issues and mobility issues, cruise line don't want you. They want your money. They want you to be able to walk around and do your own thing, come and go, spend a week or two here, then go home, and maybe in 6 months book another cruise. But I know it's really tempting. It's really tempting, but familiarity breeds contempt. And I think after you've been on a cruise ship for a little too long, you will have nothing but contempt for it. You know, the same fish Fridays and beef dip Tuesdays, you know? And if it's Thursday, it's gotta be Ketchikan or Skagway, Alaska, if it's the summertime. So, I don't know, man. And you're not gonna make any friends. Maybe some of the cruise staff, you'll get to know them, just like I get to know them, but they're really not your friends. They're staff. They're here to serve you. And Speaking of service, they're serving some balls in the court. So folks, what do you think? Would you be tempted? Because, you know, it's not a lot of money. A lot of people can come up with $1,000, $1,200, $1,400 a week to live on a cruise ship forever. But do you want to do that indefinitely? Can you kind of stretch your brain to realize the problems that would be associated with that? Because I think if you have a really tough conversation with yourself, you're going to realize it's not for everybody, and it's actually not for almost anybody. Because in the end, it's not a permanent solution. It's a tempting solution on the surface, but it's not an old folks home. No, it's not. So anyway, folks, you put your comments down below, and I hope you're doing well. And I'm going to enjoy myself on Holland America's Koningsdam and grab something to eat. Over and out.
If you need us, we'll be there. Keep on searching for your pot of gold. If you need us, we'll be there. Can go to figure out what we've done, what we need to do. Yeah, I got you, I got you, I got you.